So now we talked about protecting your copyright, but let's also talk about you guys avoiding infringement, especially when you go out and you write or you use other people's copyright. Like I said earlier, don't rely on the fair use example or the fair use defense, because first of all, if you have to go to court and prove that it was fair use, it's going to cost a lot of money in attorney fees just trying to defend yourself, and you may or may not get a favorable decision. So just keep that in mind. You don't want to say, oh, it was fair use. Like I always say, if you're in doubt at all about would this be fair use or not, like I said, there's no bright line, there's no black and white, this is fair use, this isn't fair use. So when in doubt, just don't copy somebody else's work. It's just not worth it. And if possible, if you just have to use somebody else's work, get their permission first. Like if you, in the example of the photographs that you want to make into the book, just go back to the photographer and say, this is what I want to do. Is it okay with you? And get it in writing from them. Then you don't have to worry about them coming after you and suing you for infringement. A lot of the time people will call me and say, well, can I just go do this? And I say, I wouldn't do that. Well, this is why I think I should be able to do it. I think it's fair use, or I think I bought the photos, therefore I think I can do this. They say, well, I can see your side, but I can also see the copyright owner coming after you and suing you for infringement. Wouldn't it be easier, rather than trying to justify to me why you should be able to do this, to just go talk to the copyright owner and get their written permission to do it, and then you don't have to worry about it. So, another thing people ask me is, can I use the names of real people when I write a book or when I write a magazine article? And I always say, fictionalize the names, fictionalize the scenarios if you can. If you can't, if it's strict news reporting, you can go ahead and do it. You just have to be careful that you don't slander them, or if you if you say something misleading in writing, it's called libel. If you say it out loud, it's slander. You don't want to do either, because that's not a copyright issue, but it can still land you in the same place on the wrong end of a lawsuit. There's also rights of privacy. If you learn certain facts about a person that are expected to remain private and you go out and you publicize it, they may be able to sue you for a right of privacy, especially if they're not a public figure. So you just want to be real careful when you use the names of real people. If you do have to use the name of a real person, for example, if you're a news reporter, you have to use the names and exact scenarios of what happened, but be careful that you don't say anything disparaging and that everything you say is true and can be verified and it's not just your opinion. Again, those aren't necessarily issues of copyright, but they're issues that you can run into.